look at Maxine Waters to show you there's an agenda. She actually was out advocating for people to spit on somebody with a MAGA hat. They had support Trump bumper sticker, break out the car windows, turn the things over, get unruly and burn stuff up. That actually is incitement of violence, which is in fact criminal. Now, they don't go after her. They just have this thing on Trump. Now, I don't particularly like Trump, but I'm not against him. I did not vote for that damn fool that they had running against him, that racist dog, what I heard the first time in 1972 when I was doing an intern thing at a D.C. think tank, when he was out there with James O. Eastland, John B. Stennis, Faubus came in from Arkansas. That's the fool who said they'd never integrate the Little Rock High School. They had Wallace there, who was wheeled in, and they had Byrd, former Grand Dragon of the Klan, and they were talking about this young man who had a stupid-looking ducktail like he was back in the 1950s, was the last true yellow dog Dixiecrat. And they were talking about Joe Biden, who got up there, and when the speech he gave, I mean, I was really offended. I heard it right outside the state capitol building in Dover, which was a rundown, ransacked old house, 250 years old. And he said Negro children are like roaches. If they're allowed to integrate the schools, they will infest them and they will never be gotten out. Negro.
Who said that? Joe Biden said that?
Yeah, I heard it. Saw it. He said Negroes were animals and they turned the streets into jungles. And he and Senator Eastland had a plan where they could put all of these Negro animals in zoos. Now, we talk about the 94 crime bill. That wasn't shit. The 91 was bad. The
91
was really bad. The 81 was the one where one rock got you 5 years, which due to some other stuff Biden and Stennis and Eastland did. It wasn't 5 years with parole. They abolished federal parole. So you get 5 years, you get 60 months, and you get released with all good and honor time at 56 months from federal custody. And then that was the 81, when then there was the 79 and the 77. So let's give blame where blame is due. That bastard has been a racist dog, and he used to talk about he understood the Negro because he was raised in Delaware. And he said Delaware was a proud slave-owning state that basically copped out by not going with the South during the rebellion as it should have, because they were too close to D.C. to not be intimidated. So I listened to this racist dog. I kept up with him because I was practicing criminal law, and federal criminal trials became almost a lynch thing because of what is allowed. By the way, if you ever get interrogated by the feds, never say, I don't know what happened. I don't know anything about it. Because you will get convicted on one count of an indictment saying, making a knowingly false statement to a federal investigator. You know why? Because they tell you what you're there for, so you know what you're there for. So when you say, I don't know nothing about it, you did because they told you. If with the feds, you say, I have nothing to say, or I refuse to make a statement, I want a lawyer. But if you're talking with the state, you say, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Fuck you, you know. But with the feds, watch what you say. Because in the federal system, thanks to Biden, Stennis, Eastland, and some other these yellow dog Dixiecrat racists, what happens is they've set it up so you get tried by ambush if it is a criminal case. And if you're absolutely innocent, you don't know shit about what happened. Eastland and Stennis and Biden set something else up where they deliberately set the rules so that a prosecutor could knowingly not knowing, but know that he had no case that could get an conviction, but deliberately go after you for the purpose of bankrupting you so your ability to operate is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's one of the bad things that bastard did. And then you got Queenla Imhoff in there. You know who Imhoff is?
No.
Yes, you do.
Who?
Mrs. Imhoff, Vice President of the United States, who goes by her maiden name,
Miss Kamala?
Kamala Harris. She's got 2 Jewish children she adopted. She's married a Jewish husband who's got a interesting...
I'm scared to talk about Kamala Harris. I'm going to let you have that one.
She's a witch, and she is a corrupt witch. She's been corrupt her whole life, and she fucked her way to the top.
Oh,
They used to detail this witch in the LA Times with her sexual escapades. She fucked damn near everybody trying to get up. She used to be a frat hoe when she was at Howard. And she ain't black. You know,
I ain't got nothing to do with this, Miss Harris.
I mean, well, don't, but she's
I don't know. I'm just listening.
Well, here's the thing. I actually met her father in Jamaica. I was the guest, sat at the Governor General's table, and he was a professor.
Okay.
And he represents as a Hindu Brahmin. He admittedly has some Irish in him. All right? The person that Kamala Harris is saying is her black great-grandmother is, in fact, according to Daddy, in an article he wrote, which has now been cleaned up on the online edition of that magazine, was a Hindu house servant, not a black woman. So her mother is listed on her birth certificate as Caucasian, even though she's dark. But she's a Hindu Brahmin Tamil caste. Now, interestingly, do you know what the anthropological name is for what Kamala Harris and her parents are?
No, sir.
Indo, I-N-D-O hyphen Aryan. See, they are the original Aryans, but Adolf Hitler and his boys told a big lie. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryans from the far north did not exist, never existed. They were the dark to swarthy to paper bag brown, dark-eyed, dark, coarse-haired Indo-Aryans from India. Those actually settled Germany, and some other people came in from the steppes that lightened everything up a bit. So that lie is being told. So you get the Aryan Brotherhood, the Aryan Nation. What's going on is the Aryans, they claim to be one with, look like Queenla or Queen Harris. You know, I guess what she did is, you know, LA Times ranks her out. I was out in LA, you know, when she was
I didn't see this article.
Before that, she got out and they ran a thing that when she went to law school, Willie Brown, that was his mistress. They used to have guards.
I heard about that.
Where they had one I loved. It was a scene, Willie Brown sitting behind a desk with his tongue hang out, and Kamala is raising up after doing him, you know. And they ran this thing where he got her a job with a medical supply company that did business with the city of San Francisco. He got her a gig for 15 hours a week for $72,000 a year, and you have to understand that was 35 years ago. And then when they carried a thing where she moved up to 20 hours a week, she getting paid $120,000 for a part-time gig, and he bought her a 750i BMW. She was earning that. So then she had this thing where she was trying to get on with this big firm that wouldn't hire, so she started screwing one of your buddies, an NBA player who was their biggest client. So she got hired. So then they ran a scandal sheet on her where she was trying to get on with the DA's office, so she started screwing the deputy chief DA to get on. So
what do you see? I mean, you have a lot of knowledge. As you can see, you got the chat going crazy. You have knowledge that span back 30, 40 years. So what do you
50.
see? 50 years.
Right.
Sorry about that. So
I graduated from college more than a half century ago, so it's been
crazy.
a while.
That's crazy. So do you see it getting worse with the media propaganda, or do you see
Yeah,
things?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So you think
What
it's getting worse?
usually happens is you've got some jackbooted, goop-stepping fascists who strong arm and take over the government. Then they take over the press, impose censorship, and they propagandize to stay in power. You had some pink panty-wearing fascists who, instead of goose-stepping, they switched and twitched. They took over the media, propagandized the people. Now they've taken over the government, and they are attempting to gut the Bill of Rights so they can impose censorship on you. Like, you can call somebody the N-word all you want, but if you slap them across the face, you might get your jaw broken if the brother punches you back, but that's not a hate crime. But then on the other hand, you say something about somebody Asian, now it's a hate crime. Say, okay, Asians are fine people. But the bottom line is that what they did in their name is suppress a hell of a lot of the Bill of Rights, which is not good for anybody. Interestingly enough, we've got a gay Jewish congressman for the 9th District, which embraces most of Memphis, Steve Cohen, and for the 6.5 terms he's been in representing a district that's 91% black, was a binding resolution to compel the congressional cafeteria to use paper straws. Now, he is chairman of the subcommittee that crafted the Asian Hate Protection Act. Okay, he says 3,245 or so Asians got jacked up in 2020. Well, that's about 800 less than it was for 2019 and 1,004 or 500 less than it was in 2018. And actually what it represents is the expected attrition of what you would find for somebody operating a weave, wig, nail salon, beauty supply place, liquor store, or convenience store down in the hood. The percentages of Asians getting jacked up in the hood is less than it is for African American or black folk who operate similar businesses in the hood. So it just goes with the territory, and it's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 zeros in front of it, 8 zeros in front of it when you divide it by 360 million, which is the current U.S. population as per the last census.